What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be reviewing and breaking down The Flash Season 8, Episode 15. So yeah, guys, let's just get right into it. So the episode starts with Barry having, no idea where Iris is, obviously because at the end of last episode, she disappeared with her time sickness into the Still Force, which of course sets up this episode titled Into the Still Force. So yeah, Barry realizes she's missing and presumes that she's had another attack. Now, we also hear Barry say that he can't enter the Still Force without Dion, who they say is also missing. So my initial theory here was that Barry would go to Thawne for help, as Thawne accessed the negative Speed Force in Armageddon, but eventually Dion did show up. So then we see Mark and Caitlin, who are trying to bring Frost back. Now, something that I think would be interesting would be, I've also heard a lot of people have this theory as well. If Frost doesn't come back, but instead Killer Frost comes back, then I might actually enjoy her storyline. But yeah, Killer Frost I think is way better than just normal Frost. So if Killer Frost were to return on the show, I think that would be awesome. So Barry confronts Tinya in Coast City about Iris, but while he's there in that coffee shop, everybody freezes and suddenly Dion appears and he says that Iris's time sickness has also affected him. So maybe we're going to eventually see somewhat of a Death of the Still Force storyline, sort of like Death of the Speed Force back in Season 6. I think that would be pretty interesting, but for now, yeah, we just got Barry going into the Still Force. And guys, just a quick little thing I'd like to add here. When Chester isn't with Allegra, I think he is actually a great character. It just seems like Allegra is holding, the show back, I guess. But I just think Chester, when he's by himself, and especially in this episode, was a really good character. But anyways, so Dion and Barry do go into the Still Force, and Dion mentions that everything in the Still Force is extremely disorganized, and this is also when we see that newspaper that says Zoom and Godspeed destroy Central City. Now, in this scene, they kind of say things that, emphasize that the newspaper's headline about Zoom and Godspeed destroying Central City are basically, false realities or something along those lines, but I really feel like there's something else going on with that. I don't know why they would tease just, specifically that, and then, just nothing else. So I think there's definitely something else going on. It would honestly be extremely disappointing if the only teaser we got to Zoom and Godspeed was from a newspaper. So we see Barry and Dion continue to search for Iris, but for some reason Dion just leaves and then Barry is trapped in the Still Force. That was kind of a confusing part right there. But then we go to 2049 to see Nora, and this is where Dion went. He went to try and get Nora's help for Barry. We also find out this version of Nora is a reporter like Iris, unlike the other Nora back in Season 5, who was a CSI like Barry, so that's kind of interesting, I guess. We also see Chester dealing with that device that he was called to look at CCPD, and Chester quickly realizes something about it. We find out later that he built the concept for the device, and I'm honestly kind of disappointed they didn't say Eobard Thawne was the reason for that device. That was I don't know, something built by Eobard Thawne in order to try and escape prison. Obviously, he's a super genius. He's got to have something up his sleeve. Obviously, he's going to be appearing later in the season. Now, guys, with that being said, we did get a tiny scene at the end of the episode that showed Chester's computer, and it looked like somebody was hacking into it and copying data. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe that is related to the Reverse Flash. I think that would be pretty cool. And, guys, yet again, we get another Wally West reference when Barry says that Wally taught him how to make contact with the other forces, implying that Wally has seen Team Flash within the last year and a half or so. So I just keep thinking that this is teasing a Wally West / Kid Flash return either in the finale or later this season. I'm really excited because they just keep teasing him, it seems like. So anyways, Barry and Nora try to get out of the Still Force, and Barry says that he is connected to the Still Force now, and he can see the past, present, and future. Obviously, he's able to connect to the Still Force through that meditation that Wally taught him. But anyways, we get a ton of teasers in regards to what Barry sees. So Barry says he sees Bart's kids, and from what I can think of, Bart didn't really have any kids in the comics, unless I'm just totally forgetting about somebody. So maybe they could be switching it up and saying Wally's comic book kids become Bart's kids or something like that, because Wally really doesn't appear on the show very much. I think that's definitely possible. Anyways, Barry mentions a few more characters as well, such as Jesse and Harry, as he must have been looking at the past to see them there. Now, Barry also mentions somebody very interesting. He mentions somebody named Max, and I think he has to be referring to Max Mercury, who in the comics is a speedster and is also Bart's mentor. On the show, Bart's mentor is Jay Garrick, so it'll be interesting to see if Max Mercury ever ends up appearing. I think, you know, because they also mentioned Jesse in this scene, I think that could possibly be setting up somewhat of a Flash Rebirth type of storyline. Obviously, if you guys have not seen that, that's revolving around Barry returning, but also Reverse Flash returns, blah, blah, blah. A ton of speedsters take down Reverse Flash, including Jesse and Max Mercury. So I think, you know, maybe possibly Barry could have been looking in the future to see Jesse. I think that would have been pretty interesting if Jesse and Max Mercury are some characters that appear on the show once again. But yeah, all that was really interesting in terms of teasers. But yeah, anyways, at the end, obviously Barry and Nora are able to get out of the Still Force, and we also see Caitlin working on the Frost project, and Mark says that he will help Caitlin bring Frost back. Again, I'm really hoping she'll become Killer Frost again. That would be so cool. But yeah, guys, I'd say this episode, you know, it was still pretty good. Not as good as I thought it would be. I thought there'd be more time travel stuff involved and maybe a little bit more with Zoom and Godspeed, because I really hope they actually end up appearing maybe later in the season. I thought, you know, there'd be a little more in regard to teasers for that. But yeah, make sure you guys comment your thoughts below on this video as well as the episode, and I'll see you guys in the next video.